What's up everyone? Today I'm going to show you how I grow these beautiful broccoli microgreens. They're delicious, nutritious, and not that hard to grow. Let's get into it. I start by prepping my growing medium. In this case I'm using cocoa coir. You can also use regular potting mix, but coir is a little cheaper and works well for me. If you're using soil, there's no need to do any prep. Your soil can just go directly into your trays. I get my coir in 1.4 pound blocks, which I find is good for about 5 trays, so that's about 4 or 5 ounces per tray. In practice, this just looks like a few chunks off the block. I then add some water to the dry coir so it expands into a usable medium. Again, I eyeball this, but it'll generally be around 2 cups, assuming you use 4 or 5 ounces of coir. It's better to start with less and then add more as needed. Oversaturated coir can lead to mold later on. If you're looking for a consistency of slightly moist soil, you shouldn't really be able to squeeze too much water out, maybe just a drop or 2. With the growing medium prepared, the next step is to add it to my tray, which is really 2 trays, one with holes stacked on top of one without holes. This allows you to bottom water, which I'll explain later. Spread your coir or soil out on the tray and gently pat it down, trying to make it as even as possible. I aim to have about a ½ inch of medium in my tray. Once you have it pretty flat, we're just going to take another tray and tamp down the medium. Place the tray on top and press evenly throughout. This will likely make lines in the tray, which could lead to uneven seating, so flatten them out by hand one more time before proceeding. Next, I'm going to weigh out my seeds. For broccoli, I like to use around 20 grams. Spread the seeds out evenly on the surface of your growing medium. It's important to get a nice even distribution here to maximize your germination rates and get that good full canopy on your crop. Once you have your tray seeded, give it a good misting with water. If you're using coir, odds are your medium already has a decent amount of moisture in it, and your goal here is just to get the seeds and the top layer of the medium wet. If you're using soil, spray until you see the first drops of water coming through the holes in the top tray into the bottom tray. You can lift up the top tray periodically to check while you're watering. This tray is now ready for germination. Stack another tray without holes on top and then add a weight on top of that. Here I'm using a 14-pound paver, but anything you can find that's between 5 and 20 pounds should do the trick. This setup will give the seeds a dark, damp environment to germinate in. I'll then just set this tray aside for 3 to 4 days and let the seeds germinate. Alright, these seeds have now been germinating for 4 days, and as you can see, they've started to push up on the top tray. That tells me it's time to remove this top tray and turn on my grow lights. Many different types of lights will work for this, but ideally you want them to be full spectrum. I have my grow lights hooked up to an outlet timer that keeps them on for 17 hours per day. I'm also going to give them a good watering. I'll lift up the top tray and pour about a cup of water into the bottom tray. This is going to become your daily ritual until these guys are ready to be harvested. After the first watering, I'll generally use a little less than a cup of water each time. As you grow more of these, you'll get a better sense of how much they need and learn to adjust accordingly. Here they are at day 5, and as you can see, they shot up pretty quick. By day 8, they're looking real lush. We're on day 10 now, and they're pretty much good to go. I could probably let them go another day or 2, but I'm happy with them, so let's harvest. There are a few different ways you could harvest these, but I like to use a sharp chef's knife. Gently grab a bunch of the greens and slice through the stems. I try to cut about at the level of the top of the tray. Just don't go too low, or you might get some dirt in your crop. And that's it. You can can store these microgreens in plastic bags in the fridge for about a week. You can also harvest them as you need them for completely fresh greens.